Shabbat Shalom, good morning and greetings to the 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed by our father Yah to Israel, and who now are scattered into the four corners of the earth according to the word of the Most High, and who are now awaiting and being prepared for the return of the Hebrew Messiah of the tribe of Judah, who the Bible calls Jesus Christ, but whose true name is Yahushua. Greetings. And to the 144,000 who are among them, learning the word of the Most High to teach his children the truth, and also being prepared for the seal. Greetings. And to the Gentiles who boldly take a stand with the downtrodden and scattered people of Yah, who are downtrodden and scattered throughout the earth, to those who through faith in the line of the tribe of Judah obtain like salvation. Greetings. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders who every day have one goal and purpose: to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage to keep streets and highways and sidewalks clean and disease-free, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to deliver the victims of child molestation, the victims of child pornography and pornography, the victims of pedophilia, the victims of child prostitution and prostitution, the victim of sex slavery and human trafficking. Blessings upon the men and women trying to deliver these victims, and blessings upon the victims, and double curses. The double curses of Revelation 18 that are fallen upon Babylon, may they fall also upon the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts who traffic in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, and children in the streets of the United States of America. Don't know where their next meal is coming from in many cases, and no roof over their head. And millions around the world in similar or even worse conditions. Blessings upon them. May the Most High remember them, for theirs is the kingdom. Greetings to the chat, the brothers and sisters in the chat. Greetings to all of you. Praise the Most High for you. And today we're going to continue our study in Revelation chapter 11 with the two witnesses. And a couple of brothers, another brother, Chaplain Lewis, and another brother, they had some questions, good questions, and it caused me to want to investigate this in terms of understanding, in terms of the 144,000, because obviously they're playing a major role in Revelation chapter 10 and chapter 11. And so let's go over that a little bit more so that we understand what's going on there. Let's go back first to Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. And we discovered some things when we last studied this during the course of this study. And I want to review those things for our understanding, because it's also going to help us in chapter 11. So I'm glad the brothers brought up the question. Now, we know that Revelation chapter 7 covers the sixth seal. Okay. And so I always like to read the beginning of the sixth seal, because the chapter 7 part where it says chapter 7 might throw some people off thinking it's different, but it's all under the sixth seal, right? So let's read that from Revelation chapter 6, verse 12, and let's go down to the end of chapter 6 and then begin in chapter 7, because it's all one piece. Okay. So Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is coming. Who shall be able to stand? So you see the return of Messiah being described here. He's coming in great wrath with the Father on the Father's throne. And that's what Messiah told the scribes and Pharisees. Hereafter you shall see the Son of Man sit on the right hand of power. Power being Father Yah, coming in the clouds of heaven. Okay, so we saw that. And the question was asked at the end of that narrative that we just read, who shall be able to stand? That question is important because of the holiness and power. You all saw as we study Revelation chapter 1, and we also studied Daniel chapter 10, that in the presence of the glory of Messiah, even his ardent followers fell as dead men. And we saw that also when Peter, James, Peter, James, and John went to the mountain with Messiah, and he was glorified before them, and saw Moses and Elijah, that they fell, and they were sleepy and tired and fell as dead men. So can you imagine when the Messiah returns with Father Yah, with all the power and glory of heaven, and they're coming with wrath? You can imagine the question that everyone would be able to ask. Who shall be able to stand? You're facing eternity, and you're facing it in the form of perfect righteousness. So that when you see something, it's like this, brothers and sisters. You ever see somebody and they look so much better than you? They're in such better condition than you, and it makes you feel inferior, right? Or a woman that sees another woman, and the woman that she's looking at in her eyes is more beautiful than her, and she starts to feel inferior. Well, brethren, when you're dealing with Father Yah and Messiah, you're seeing something more powerful, more beautiful, more holy, more pure than anything you would ever see. And so in their sight, you're going to feel as nothing. And your sin and your dirt is going to come on you, and you're going to feel dirty and sinful in comparison to them. So that's why the question is asked, who shall be able to stand? And that's why they were asking for rocks and mountains to fall on them. Why? Because they were unrepentant sinners. They were unrepentant sinners. And so they're looking and they're asking, who's going to be able to stand before these beings? Okay. Now, the question is answered as we go into chapter 7. The question is answered there. So let's take a look. Revelation chapter 7. Let's go for verse. We're going to read down bit by bit, but we're going to go verse 1 and 2 to start. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So let's stop here. He saw 4 angels. And let me also just touch on this real quick. The winds that destroy the earth deliver the righteous. We'll see that as we look at the word of the Most High. The same winds that destroy the earth are the winds that are used to deliver the righteous. Just like the fire of Nebuchadnezzar's, remember that fire in Nebuchadnezzar's furnace would destroy. It destroyed the men that brought up Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, but it didn't hurt them. The same fire, an eternal fire that's going to come on the earth, will destroy everything that's touched by sin, and it will do nothing to that which is sealed in righteousness. Okay, so here you have 4 winds, north, south, east, and west, that are ordained to destroy the earth. And your question was asked, who shall be able to stand? And then you saw an angel, and the Bible showed us this angel ascending, not descending, but ascending. Okay, ascending from the east. The east is where Messiah and Father are going to come from, east and north. So you see him ascending. For him to have ascended, he had to first, if he's an angel from the 3rd heaven, he had to first descend. And he had Yah's seal with him. He was coming to bring a seal upon the foreheads of the 144,000. But when we see him here, he's ascending, which means he did not seal the 144,000. We'll talk about why in a second. I think we mostly know. And he's yelling something to the 4 angels to whom it was given to bring winds of destruction to the planet. He's yelling something. Hold the winds. Look, verse 3 and 4. What was he saying? Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So you see here that the angel came to seal the servants for their deliverance. We talked about Elijah being taken up in the whirlwind yesterday, remember? And if you look up the whirlwind, it's like a hurricane, like a wind. And so that wind was there to seal y'all servants and bring and deliver them. But they weren't prepared. Well, why weren't they? Because if the true Hebrews, as I'm saying, according to the word of Yah, are the Israelites, people that were scattered through slavery, according to Moses, according to Ezekiel, according to Jeremiah, according to Isaiah, according to Messiah himself in Luke chapter 21, when he said, Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, and they shall be taken captives into all nations. That is slavery. So the true Israelites were placed into slavery, and it said they shall be a byword among the nations. We're going to live among the heathen and be a byword. It's going to be put out of the minds of people who we are. We're going to be hidden among the heathen and not know who we are anymore and forget our name. All that has happened only to one people on planet Earth that fit all of those descriptions, that went into slavery. And also, as Deuteronomy said, went into slavery by ships. Not only that, don't even know who they are or where they come from. I'll never forget. I listen to it almost every day. There's a 56-second clip. Maybe I'll put it in the description box from Malcolm X. I listen to it almost every day. It's only 56 seconds. And he says, who are you? And I remember when I first heard it, I was an SDA. And I could not answer the question. And that's when I began to start thinking, wait a minute, something wrong here. He said, who are you? He was speaking to a group of Hebrews. He said, who are you? He said, you don't know. He said, don't tell me Negro. That's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? What did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak? He said, what was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. He said, that wasn't your name. He said, we don't have those kind of names where you and I come from. What was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak then? Where did your tongue? How did the man take out your tongue? How did he wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now? That's a question. That's prophecy. Brother Malcolm didn't even realize he was speaking prophecy. Because there's only one people on the entire planet Earth that fit that description, that are being told where you came from and you don't even know. We are looking up, I look up Ancestry and I look up 23andMe to see what my bloodline is. And that's how I find what part of Africa my people came from. Other than that, I wouldn't know, except right here. Except right here. And there's no other people on earth. Oh, yes. Other people have been afflicted. Other people have even been placed in slavery. But you know what? Like you come to the United States from Europe. If your fathers came here from Italy or from Poland or from Ireland or from England or from Germany, you come here. And some people came here and they changed their names to hide where they come from so they can be conglomerated into the American culture, right? But they still know who they are. They still know who their grandparents are. They still know what the original names of their people are. They still know their country, where they came from. There's only one group of people that have no idea where they came from. They don't know what their names were. They don't know what their language was. They don't know what their religion was. They're only getting from the slave master what their religion is from the slave master. They're getting the name from the slave master. That was the slave master's name, a German name, an Irish name, a Polish name, an Italian name. They don't have their own names. What do you think? Michael Meck said this too. He said, a person that don't know who he is, where he comes from, is a sick person. No matter how much money you might make, if you don't know who you are or where you come from or what your people was, who are you? You are lost. You're worse than lost. So the word shows us that this group of people were at the time when this angel came, were in chains. And that's why he couldn't seal us. We didn't know who we were. We didn't know what our names were. We couldn't tell you anything except we come from Africa when they took us. We had no idea. They told us we was heathen in huts, and we believed them. They told us we was like monkeys in trees, and we believed them. Because we didn't know. And when one of us would know, they would beat you until you accepted the new name. Your name not Kunta Kinte, your name is Toby. You accept the new name, you learn our language. Everybody that came to the United States came for a better life except one group of people. One group of people did not come here for a better life. They were kidnapped and brought here to work as slaves. Only one group of people. Nobody else. The same with England. In the UK. They were brought there. And even England, what they did it slicker. They said, oh no, we're going to set up an island away from us. And we're going to have them working for us, producing sugar. And we're going to make money on that sugar, selling it all over the world. But we're not going to have them always. We just have a few servants here. But most of them, so that when they in England, they had no idea what was the brutality that was going on the island of Jamaica. Or the French. The rich French didn't have any idea of the brutality that was going on Haiti. Because they were out there. Whereas in the United States, they grew up seeing it. And they grew hardened. And they didn't care. Because they were getting wealthy off our backs. But that's prophecy. So when this angel came to seal, they weren't ready. And the Most High Father showed us why we weren't ready. And now we are gaining the understanding of how to be ready. That's number one we wanted to bring out here about the 144,000. Because now the awakening, as I said last night, is the sign. That's the sign. The awakening is the sign. Because now as we are awakening as to who we really are, you want to know what your name was? Look in the scriptures. Yakanan, Yaramaya, Yaashar. What was your name? That was your real name. Hananiah, Azariah. Those are your real names. Gabar, Sadak. Those are your real names. That's part of the awakening. And you know what? I want to show you. That's even prophesied. Notice, watch this. We're going to come right back to Revelation 7. Again, we're just warming up before we get into this thing. But let me show you. Isaiah chapter 44. Isaiah chapter 44. Watch, and tell me if you don't see this right now. Watch. Isaiah chapter 44. Isaiah 44, I'm going to start at verse 1, and I'm going to go down to verse 7. But especially pay attention to verse 5. Isaiah 44, 1 through 7, but please watch verse 5 very carefully. I'm reading it in context, okay? Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up among the grass as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahweh. And another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh and surname himself by the name of Israel. Is that happening now? Y'all see that? Thus saith Yahweh, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last. Beside me there is no most high. And who as I shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them. You shall surname yourself. You shall call yourself. Why would you have to do that? Because you lost your name. You lost your name. Okay? You lost your name. And so you see, people are fulfilling scripture and not even realizing it. See that? But that's what's happening. Because you realize my name not Smith, my name not Jones, my name not Thomas, my name not Jefferson or Washington. That's not my name. What is my name? I don't know. But my name is in the word. My name is in here. And more importantly than that, your name is written in the book of life. Your true name, which Yah is going to point for you. Your true name. Okay? He said that in the word. I'm gonna give you a true name. So now we know. Now, back to Revelation 7. So now we understand why there was a delay and what it was about. Okay, and what those winds are sitting there for, right? Now back to Revelation 7. Now, when I used to read this all the time, a couple of things bothered me. And I'm sure now some of you guys are running into the same thing. So I looked at the 12 tribes represented here, and there are 2 tribes missing. Dan is missing, and Ephraim is missing. Now, they're listed on the 12 gates. When you look at Ezekiel chapter 48, all the original 12 sons of Jacob are listed on the gates of the city. So why aren't they among the 144,000? Well, 2 things. If you recall what we discovered, the 144,000 are not like bloodlines of these tribes. They are Levites that teach these tribes. Remember that? We discovered that. The Levites are the ones. And we looked at examples in the word. Let's look. Let's go and go back through that. Because so all the 144,000 are the tribe of Levi. But the Levites were scattered into the 12 tribes of Israel. Each tribe had Levites appointed, right? So all 12 tribes had that. So let's look now in the Gospels. I'm going to start at Luke. That's right. So the Levites were counted, though. They were listed and counted. And when you have a number like that, it's a literal number, of course, out of the 12 tribes, 12,000 out of a tribe. Okay. Now, let's look at Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1. Okay, let's start there. Remember, we studied this before. I'm going over a little bit faster now because I'm just kind of backgrounding. You can go back when we actually studied this in this series in Revelation chapter 7 on the playlist. Okay, but here, let's start Luke chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 5 and go down to verse 8, from 5 to 8. Actually, from 5 to 9. Okay, Luke chapter 1 from 5 to 9. And there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judah, a certain priest named Zechariah, of the course of Abia. And his wife was of the daughters of Aaron. Her name was Elizabeth. So you had a priest, a Levite, and you had his wife, a Levite, of the daughters of Aaron. Aaron was there were 3 sets of Levites. Aaron's set was the ones to work inside the temple, right? Others were set to do things outside the temple, but Aaron's was the only one to go in the temple, inside the most holy place, the holy place, just Aaron's seat. Okay, so you got this Aaronic priest, and they were both righteous before Yah, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the master, blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they were both now well stricken in years. So you have a Levite priest and his wife, married a long time, no children. Verse 8. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Yah in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahweh. So he was to go in, and his incense where the prayers were represented. Remember, the prayers of the saints represented in the incense. He was to keep that incense burning as part of it. That was his responsibility, his Levite responsibility. Okay. So now he's being told he's going to have a son. So before we continue, if Zechariah and Elizabeth have a son, what tribe is the son? Zechariah is a Levite priest. His wife is of the daughters of Aaron. If they come together and have a son, what tribe is the son? That's right. He's the tribe of Levi. Okay. Okay. So let's continue reading Luke chapter 1. I'm gonna go down to verse 14. I'm at verse 13. I'm gonna go from verse 13 down to verse 17. Okay, ready? Verse 13 to 17. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zechariah, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John, or in Hebrew is Yachanan. Okay, and thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahweh, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. And he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to Yahweh their most high. And he shall go before him, he shall go before Yahweh, what? In the spirit and power of Elijah. So wait a second. You have a Levite prophet that's coming in the spirit and power that was given to Elijah. Do you see that? Y'all got that so far? So you have a Levite prophet in the spirit and power of Elijah. Okay? And let's continue reading. To turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for their master. So we would later find out the disciples would ask about John and said, we thought Elijah was going to come before you came. And Messiah said Elijah did come, and they killed him. Okay, so this man represented Elijah because he was the forerunner of Messiah. So he was getting the people prepared for Messiah. Okay, right? So he's a Levite priest by blood, and he has the spirit and power given to Elijah to perform the work of Elijah in awakening the people. All right, so far so good. Now let's go to Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament. Malachi, and the last chapter of Malachi, Malachi chapter 4. Malachi chapter 4. Now, of course, Malachi is only 6 verses. So that chapter 4, I mean. So let's read it because it's talking about the second coming, the second appearance of Messiah. How do you know? Because notice what it says. Watch. Beginning at verse 1 and going to verse 6. For behold, the day cometh, thou shalt burn as an oven. And all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts. It shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall grow and ye shall grow up as calves of the stall. That's when I was telling you last night how nobody in Noah's generation reached 1,000. But we're going to reach 1,000 because we're going to grow up as calves of the stall during that first 1,000 years. Okay? And we're going to be healed. The tree of life is going to heal us over the 1,000 years. Okay? Verse 3, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. Now, watch the admonition here. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Who is ordained to teach Israel the statutes and judgments. Who is ordained by the Most High to teach Israel the statutes and judgments? Who is that? Which tribe is ordained? That's right. It's the Levites. There you go again. Okay. Let's continue. Verse 5 and 6. Behold, I send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So the Levites are ordained to teach. And you have a Levite coming in the spirit and power of Elijah. Wait a minute. We got another verse in Malachi also, Malachi chapter 3. Malachi chapter 3, again, talking about the return of Messiah. Okay, Malachi chapter 3. Now, this one talking about the first return, the first appearance. Okay, and here we go. Malachi chapter 3, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 3. Okay, Malachi 3, 1 through 3. Watch what it says here. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And Yahweh whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, that's Messiah, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith Yahweh of hosts. But who may abide in the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appears? Remember the question in Revelation, who shall be able to stand? Who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, like a fuller's soap. That means he's purifying and cleaning. That's what fire does. It purifies, and soap does what? It cleans. So he's like a purifier and a cleanser. That's the Messiah. Okay? And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify who? Who does it say there? Judah? Benjamin? Manasseh? Who is he purifying before he comes to the temple? He shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahweh an offering in righteousness. So the 12 tribes have Levites in them, each of them. Okay? Each have Levites in them. But there's 2 tribes missing. There's 2 tribes missing. There's the tribe of Dan and the tribe of Ephraim. Why are those 2 tribes, Levites, not included? And instead, you still have 12, because instead of Ephraim, you have the name Joseph, and then you have Levi himself in there. That's why you still get 12. But they took out Dan and Ephraim. So why is that? Yes, they're the Levites. Now, wait, we got more. We got more. Not finished yet. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 48. Ezekiel chapter 48. We're gonna hit a couple of places in Ezekiel. Okay, so Ezekiel, which you know when you read Ezekiel, that's an end time book right there. All end time book except Revelation, Ezekiel, even like Daniel, Ezekiel, man, end time book. Now let's talk about Melchizedek. That's a different story, DQ. That's a good question, but I'm gonna talk about that in a second. That's different. That's different. Okay. All right. So now let's look at Ezekiel 48. But that's a good question. Remember that one. By the way, we're going to have question and answer this afternoon. And my wife wants y'all to know, if you have questions, make sure you type them in big letters so she can see them. That's later, okay? That's later this afternoon. Today's the question and answer day. So we're going to do question and answer this afternoon, and type your letters, type your questions in big letters so she will be able to see it, and she'll write them down. Okay. All right. Ezekiel chapter 48. First, I'm going to read 2 verses here. I'm going to read verse 11. Well, I want to read the context. So let's read from verse 11 all the way down to verse 19. But it's really 11 and 19 we're looking at. Okay. So Ezekiel chapter 48 from verse 11 to verse 19. Okay. Here we go. And it shall be for the priests that are sanctified of the sons of Zadok, which have kept my charge, which went not astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levites went astray. And this oblation of the land that is offered shall be unto them a thing most holy by the border of the Levites. And over against this border shall the priest, the Levites, shall have 25,000 in length and 10,000 in breadth. All the length shall be 25,000, and the breadth 10,000. That's cubits, which is an equivalent of a foot and a half. So 25,000 foot and a half is, you got to figure 37,000 feet one way, and then 10,000 is 15,000 feet the other way. So they had a portion of land given to them that was 37,000 by 10,000 feet. Okay, let's continue. And they shall not sell it of it, neither exchange nor alienate the first fruits of the land, for it is holy unto Yahweh. These are the portion for the Levites. And 5,000 that are left in the breadth over against the 5 and 20,000 shall be a profane place for the city, for dwelling and for suburbs. The city shall be in the midst thereof. Now, when it says profane, it's talking about sanctified, set apart, like a buffer. Okay. And these shall be the measures thereof: the north side 4,500, the south side 4,500, the east side 4,500, and the west side 4,500. And the suburbs of the city shall be toward the north 250, and toward the south 250, and toward the east 250, and toward the west 250. In other words, you can see that this place, Jerusalem, is perfectly symmetrical. Okay, praise the Most High. You see that also in the book of Revelation. And the residue in length over against the oblation of the holy portion shall be 10,000 eastward and 10,000 westward. It shall be over against the oblation, the holy portion, and the increase thereof shall be for food unto them that serve the city. Now look at verse 19. And they that serve the city shall serve it out of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So you're talking about Levites serving out of what? All the tribes of the children of Israel. Where did we see that before? We just saw it in Revelation chapter 7, 12,000 out of all the tribes of the children of Israel. They were all Levites. Okay, ready? Verse chapter 44, Ezekiel chapter 44. Again, he's going to say here, now this time for save time, I'm going to read verse 15 down to verse 16, and then I'm going to read down to verse 23. So 15, 16, and 23, Ezekiel chapter 44, 15, 16, and 23. But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that keep the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me fat and blood, saith the Most High Yahweh. And they shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. See, now verse 23. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane, to cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. So the Levites are ordained to teach the people. Now, brother DQ asked about after the order of Melchizedek. Only the high priest is after the order of Melchizedek. Not all of them. The high priest, and then, of course, Hebrews chapter 7 explains that Messiah is that high priest, and he's after the order of Melchizedek, who, and it says in Hebrews 7, under normal circumstances, he would not be a priest because he's of the tribe of Judah. But because he is of an endless life, like Melchizedek, he's after the order of Melchizedek as the high priest. But the rest of the priests are still Levites. Y'all got that? Testing 1, 2, 3. And you want more explanation on that, read Hebrews from chapter 5 through chapter 8, and you'll get that pretty clear. So Yeshua is the high priest. That's right. Yahweh Shai the high priest after the tribe of Judah, but just the high priest. The rest of the priests are Levites. Okay. All right. Y'all got that? So that's why it's just him. Okay. So now, so you see here, your Levites, first of all, they're ordained to teach the people, Israelites. You saw that John the Baptist is a Levite priest under the power of Elijah. And that Malachi said, Messiah going to come and cleanse the Levites. And he said to the people, remember the law of Moses, my servant, and I'm going to send Elijah before I come, right? So you're going to see people being taught. So the Levites teach Israelites. Now, that's different from prophets. Prophets can come from every tribe, right? Elijah himself was from the tribe of Manasseh. Okay? Elijah was from the tribe of Manasseh. Then you had other prophets. You had prophets from Amos, Hosea, from the northern tribes, right? You had different prophets. But of course, there are prophets like Samuel, right? Samuel was a prophet. Aaron was a prophet. Moses was a prophet. Jeremiah was a prophet. Ezekiel was a prophet. And all of them were Levites. All of them, Levites. But Daniel was a prophet, Judah, right? So you can have a prophet. A woman could be a prophet, right? We know that from the word. A woman could be a prophet. So prophets could be raised up, but the teachers of the word are Levites. Okay? And it's the teachers of the word that are going to prepare the people, as the Bible just showed us, prepare people to meet the master, which is why he has to cleanse the Levites. Now, why, the question would be asked, is Dan and Ephraim missing, right? Why among the 144,000 Levites that are going to give the word in the last days, sealed by the Most High, to call and create a people made for the return of the master, why are they missing? We have to go first. We have to go to Second Chronicles. Let's go to Second Chronicles. When the kingdom was divided, That's when it was under. After Solomon's death, his son Rehoboam took the kingdom. But Rehoboam messed up, and the people and the Most High ordained another man named Jeroboam to be king of 10 tribes. That's where we get the northern tribes. Jeroboam was from Ephraim. He was an Ephraimite. Okay. All right. So let's keep that in mind. You want to find out about that, read chapter 10 of Second Chronicles. We're going into chapter 11 right now, just to save some time. Okay. So chapter 11 of Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles, chapter 11. Okay. Now, Jeroboam was the son of Nebat. He was king of the northern kingdom now. Okay. Let's go from, let's see. I'm going to have to start at verse 1 in this one so you can see the context here. And I'm going to go from verse 1. Let me see. I'm going to go from verse 1 down to verse 14. Okay. So let me just get you clear on here, so I don't want to lose you, because there's a lot. So you have the southern kingdom, which represented Judah and Benjamin. And their king was Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Okay. Y'all got that? So you had the southern kingdom, which was Judah and Benjamin. And their king was Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Okay? Then you had the northern kingdom, which were the rest of the 10 tribes. And their king was a man named Jeroboam, who was from Ephraim. Okay? Everybody got that so far? There's a reason he was an Ephraimite, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But, right, so you had the southern kingdom of Rehoboam and the northern kingdom of Jeroboam. Okay. All right. So okay, good. All right. So now, okay, good. So now, Second Chronicles, chapter 11, beginning at verse 1. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he gathered of the house of Judah and Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Israel, that is the northern kingdom, that he might bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam. So he was planning war with Jeroboam so he can consolidate the empire. Okay, that makes sense, right? Verse 2. But the word of Yahweh came to Shemaiah, another one of our names. Shemaiah, the man of Yah, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Israel in Judah and Benjamin, saying, thus saith Yahweh, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of Yahweh and returned from going against Jeroboam. So this prophet came, Shemaiah, and he said, and Shemaiah means hear Yah. That's what it means, hear Yah. Here Yah came And he said, don't go up against Jeroboam. This division is of me. Don't fight with them. So they obeyed and they did not fight. So now Rehoboam now is trying to, if he couldn't consolidate the kingdom that way, he wants to consolidate the southern kingdom. So look what he does next. Verse 5. And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities for defense in Judah. He built even Bethlehem and Etam and Tekoa and Beth Zuar and Shoko and Adullam and Gath and Marashah and Ziph and Adoraim and Lachish and Azekah and Zorah and Ahilan and Hebron, which are in Judah and Benjamin, fenced cities. And he fortified the strongholds and put captains in them and store of victual and of oil and wine. In every several city he put shields and spears and made them exceeding strong, having Judah and Benjamin on his side. And the priests, the Levites that were in all Israel, resorted to him out of all their coasts. So when he did this and strengthened the southern kingdom of David, which now is Rehoboam, he had priests that came to him and said, look, we're gonna serve with him because we know this man is following the Most High, right? Okay, verse 14 now. Watch verse 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem. For why? Why? For Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh. And he ordained, verse 15, and he ordained him priests for high places and for the devils and for the calves which he made. So the Levites that were in Ephraim were forced out. And they went to the southern kingdom. You see that? So they were forced out. Jeroboam forced them out and replaced them with men that weren't Levites as priests. Okay, y'all got that so far? So that's why you don't see Ephraim there. Y'all got that? That's why you don't see Ephraim. Because he kicked them out of the priesthood. And he went and he now let's take it further though. Watch this now. Let's turn to 2 Kings. 2 Kings, let's see. Amen. Hold on, brethren. No, it's 1 Kings. Sorry, 1 Kings. 1 Kings. Yeah, 1 Kings. 1 Kings. Same story in 1 Kings, but it gives us some more details. 1 Kings. Let's see. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 12. Watch this now. It gives you more details of the same situation in 1 Kings chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 25, and I'm going to go from verse 25 down to verse 31. Actually, I'm going to go from 25 down to 33, so you can see the severity of what Jeroboam did. First, you can see he kicked all the Levite priests out of Ephraim. Okay, so now you see why there's no Ephraim listed among 144,000. But what about Dan? Let's look. 1 Kings chapter 12, beginning at verse 25 and reading down to verse 33. 1 Kings 12, 25 to 33. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. So he's saying, I got to stop them from going back to Jerusalem, because they go back there and they start sacrificing at Solomon's temple, they're going to repent and turn to him, and then they're going to kill me. So I got to do something. What he do? Whereupon, verse 28, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So he made 2 golden calves, and he said, don't go to Jerusalem, worship here in Ephraim. Okay, don't go there, worship here. What about the priests? Notice again, watch this go, verse 29. And he set the one in Bethel, that's in Ephraim, and the other put he in Dan. So he set 2 priests He had one calf in Ephraim at the Bethel, and he had the other one in Dan. Okay. Verse 31. And he made a house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. So both Dan and Ephraim, he took the priests out of their offices and he made up priests, made up his own priests, made up his own religion. Remember, that's called wormwood, right? That's what he started doing. Okay. Not of the sons of Levi. Verse 32. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month. When was the feast supposed to be? In the 7th month in Jerusalem. But he ordained his own feast in the 8th month in the northern kingdom. On the 15th day of the month, like the feast that is in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto calves that he made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel, 15th day of the 8th month, even the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. You see why I say we can't really keep feasts in this country, in any country aside from Israel? You see why I say that? You see what Jeroboam did? But that's why you don't have priests represented in 144,000 from Ephraim and Dan. That's why you don't have it. See? Now, that doesn't mean that people, listen carefully, that people of the children of Ephraim and Dan are not going to be saved. Of course. All 12 tribes are going to be saved. All 12 original tribes. But the 144,000 that are ordained with the seal in their forehead to teach the Israelites, to prepare them for the return of Messiah and Father Yah, they're coming from the Levite people, but of every tribe as they're supposed to, except Ephraim and Dan. Except Ephraim and Dan. Does that make sense, y'all? So now you understand 144,000. See that? And again, though there's a difference, the 144,000 are teachers. Now, how do we know who they are? Right? How do you know who they are? What did Messiah teach us? Let's go with what Messiah taught us. Let's go with what Messiah taught us. Matthew chapter 8, I believe. Matthew chapter 8. How does Messiah teach us? What do he teach us? Let me see here. No, it's Matthew chapter 7. I'm sorry. Matthew chapter 7. Watch this now. Matthew chapter 7. And I want you to notice the similarity with Revelation 13. You're going to know it when you see it. Okay? Okay, watch. So Matthew chapter 7. I'm going to start at verse 13. I'm going to go down to verse 20. Matthew 7 from 13 to 20. Ready? Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. What did Revelation say about that second beast? Remember that? Chapter 13. It looks like a lamb, but it speaks like a dragon. Right? So you want to know, he said, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. How do you know? Verse 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire, whereby by their fruits ye shall know them. So, false teachers are known by their fruits. let's talk about that for a second. Let me ask you all a question. What is the ultimate goal of every true follower of Yah? Very simple question, isn't it? What is the ultimate aim and goal of every true follower of Yah? What is the ultimate aim and goal? That's right. There you go. That's right. Praise the Most High. The ultimate aim and goal of every true follower of Yah is to bring glory to Yah alone. The example was Messiah. He came to bring glory to his Father alone and to save Israel. Now, somebody said to obtain righteousness, which is true, but the obtaining of righteousness, the goal in obtaining the righteousness is for what? For us to render obedience to Yah. Does that make sense? The spirit of righteousness that we obtain, there's a reason we're obtaining that, is because that's the only way that we can render obedience to Yah. Without it, we can't. And we are going to give him glory by obedience. You got me? So you're bringing glory to your Father by being obedient to the Father. So the object is only Father's glory. Now, so why do I say that? Because, brothers and sisters, when you see someone bringing themselves glory, watch, that's a red flag. You'll catch it. That's red flag. Red flag. Okay? Only glory to the Father. That's it. So when you see somebody trying to create an organization, a man-made organization, that's not Father's glory. Does that make sense? Okay. Also, the Bible tells us, in fact, when the Apostle Paul was admonishing Titus to go among the Gentiles and ordain elders, he gave him certain instruction. Watch the instruction. Titus chapter 1. I'm going to start Titus chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 5. And I'm going to go from verse 5 to verse 8. From verse 5 to verse 8. Watch this. For this cause left I thee in Crete, that thou shouldest set in order the things that are wanting, and ordain elders in every city as I had appointed thee. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. For a bishop must be blameless as the steward of Yah, not self-willed, not soon angry, not given to wine, no striker, not given to filthy lucre. What is filthy lucre? What is that translated? Let's see. Y'all should know that one, right? But what is filthy lucre? It's money. So if you see somebody teaching the word and they're constantly asking you to dig in your pocket and give them money, red flag. Okay. The only time the Apostle Paul asked for money was when he was sending it to someplace else where people were struggling. He would get money from one place and send it. And one time there was a famine in Jerusalem, and he gathered money from all of the other assemblies and he sent it to Jerusalem. That was the only time you see him collecting money. Other than that, he wasn't asking for no money. He would work as a tent maker to support himself. People still was giving him money, but he was not trying to get money from people. See? Lasciviousness, yeah. Well, no, filthy lucre means money. That means they're doing it for money. So the so-called teacher is doing it to collect money. Okay? It should not be. That's not the Most High's thing. Now, Paul said the workman is worthy of his labor. In other words, he could collect money if he wanted to, but he was trying to prove a point of not being given to money. Not anybody thinking that he was doing the work of Yah for money. So he was working himself and as a tent maker, supporting himself. Okay. That was he did. Okay. So there's signs. And then here's another sign. Deuteronomy. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 13. Deuteronomy chapter 13, beginning at verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 13, beginning at verse 1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh your Most High proveth you to know whether you love Yahweh your Most High with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your Most High, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave to him. So if you're being led astray to something other than the Most High Yah of Israel, and somebody says, I had a dream that we're really all supposed to be Catholics, or we're supposed to join the SDA church, red flag. Or I created this ABCD camp, and y'all need to join our camp to be saved. And we need some money for your uniforms. Y'all catching it? That's how you'll know. Because the only object of the 144,000 is to prepare a people to meet their Father. That's the object. To help prepare a people to meet their Father. And understanding that you can only meet your Father through Messiah. So the obtaining of righteousness for obedience, the reading of his word alone. The object is for the Father's glory. That's all. That's all. It's for the Father's glory. Y'all follow me? So now you'll know. So you see the brethren teaching the word, and they're doing it for the Father's glory. And there's a lot of teachers out here. Not all of us are on the same page. And I'm not talking about, we don't have to be on the same page right now. But their object is to glorify Father, not to build buildings or get, houses and cars and all of that. It's for Father Yah's glory. For Father Yah's glory. Now that takes us back to Revelation chapter 11. Why they were talking about being clothed in sackcloth. Remember that? So they gave the word in sackcloth. Why? Because the word was being rejected by the majority of people on planet Earth. Their call is to the Israelite people and those that will cleave to the Israelite people out of the four corners of the earth, but they have no earthly support from anybody. They're trusting Yah alone, and Yah's providing for them. That's why they're clothed in sackcloth. Okay? Now, we talked last night. We got to verse 7 of Revelation chapter 11. So let's read from there. Verse 7, Revelation 11:7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that rises up out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. Now, a beast in this sense is a government rising up out of a pit, like out of a grave where it belongs. That's the Babylonian system, which we now live in. So that worldwide system is the beast that rises up out of the bottomless pit. And what it does is it tries to stop the message. Right? It tries to stop the message. But the message is ordained from Yah, so it's going to run its course. 3.5 years. It's going to run its course because it's ordained from Father. Once that's done, it says when they are finished, then the beast that rises up is going to try to kill them. He's going to try to eliminate them. Their words, he's not going to want to hear from them anymore. And they won't. but it'll be because Yah has ordained that the message is finished. Okay? Now, Revelation chapter, let's start here, 11, verse 8. Let me start at verse 7 again. And we'll go from verse 7 down to verse 9. Actually, from verse 7 down to verse 10. Watch this now. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, where also our master was crucified. So we know he was crucified in Jerusalem, but it was spiritually called Sodom. We know that, you know, the rainbow and everything that goes with the rainbow. You kind of see that all over the place, don't you? In fact, people try to equate the cause of the so-called black man with the rainbow cause. You notice that? The cause of the rainbow is the cause of the black man. And they call it diversity. Have y'all noticed that? That's a disrespect to y'all's chosen. But that's all right. But that's what they're trying to do. Okay? That's Sodom. And then, of course, Egypt. Why did he mention Egypt? He mentioned Egypt because he said, Egypt, what did the Pharaoh say? Who is y'all that I should obey him? I'm not going to worship y'all. Neither am I going to let the children of Israel go. See that? Now, that was where Messiah was crucified. In a corrupt place, Jerusalem. He was arrested by a betrayer, Judas. I mean, he was pointed out by Judas, and he was arrested and brought to the Gentiles who put him to death because the corrupt Israelites were in league with the Gentiles. All of them served Caesar for money. Remember what Caiaphas said, it's good that one man died for the nation and the whole nation perished not. He's going to take away our place and our nation, our place. In other words, our power, our influence, our money. We got to get rid of this dude. Okay? So that's what happened. So now you see the whole thing now. It was a system, spiritually Sodom in Egypt, really weren't serving the Most High. It was a system where the leaders of the so-called leaders of Israelites that looked like them and was talking about Moses were in cahoots with Rome and the Gentiles. And they joined forces to destroy Messiah. Same thing happens to the 144,000. The only difference is Messiah already paid our penalty. Okay, so we'll be silenced after 3.5 years. We won't be able to speak no more. We'll be running. We'll be in woods. We'll be in different places. The Most High will provide for us like he provided for the children of Israel when they came through the wilderness. Remember, he provided them. They had some bread and stuff, but then they ran out of water. So he had to give them water out of rocks. They had bread come from the sky. And then they wanted some meat to eat. So they said, okay, I'm going to give you some quail. He provided for them. He's going to provide for us. Moses fasted 40 days. Elijah too. Messiah also. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to do the same thing. Okay? So let's continue. Verse 9 and 10. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. What does that mean? When somebody don't allow you to die, that means they want your body to be eaten by birds. That's disrespect. Remember the Most High said to our rebellious fathers, I'm going to let your carcasses die in the field and let the birds eat you. That's what is going on here. They're going to be happy that we got rid of them. We got rid of them. They're gone now. And when we find them, you won't get to worry about them again. Because you know how propaganda is, right? You know what propaganda is. So the media puts out propaganda. And listen, I think we all understand. Most people believe the media. You can sit there and say, people sit there and say, well, I know they're lying, but you still believe what they say. Why? Because it's powerful. It's a medium. It's powerful. Okay. So they'll put out stuff about us and people will believe it. These are some, what they'll say? Something like this. You guys are sexual perverts. You do these things to children. It's you that deal these drugs. It's you that do all this stuff. And they'll be believing that. Okay? They'll be believing that. Don't listen to these people. They'll put out a lot of, it's exactly right. This information will be flowing. And so that's why they say, the kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies in heaven and shall not suffer their dead bodies to put in graves. In other words, they dissing them. Verse 10, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. See the word and the power of the Spirit from Elijah and Moses and 144,000 tormented them. Now they don't hear that voice no more. They don't realize, of course, that means they're lost. Okay. Verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yah entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So when Messiah comes back, what are we going to do? The 144,000 and the people that heard the message and those that have been resurrected will do what? Ascend. To where? Well, we saw it in Revelation chapter 7, right? Revelation chapter 7, we saw it. Let's look at Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. Verse 9, verse 10, verse 11. Verse 12, 9 through 12. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. This is still in the 6th seal. And lo, I beheld a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongue, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. That's the rise of them. But in the midst of all the people, the resurrected people, the people that heard the message of the 144,000. In the midst of all those people is who? The 144,000, right? Watch here. Watch here. Revelation chapter 7. I'm gonna read from verse 9. I'm gonna read from verse 9 actually to verse 17. Watch what it said. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our Most High, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell down before the throne on their faces and worshiped Yahweh, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power be unto our Most High forever and ever. Amen. Now, there's now an attention drawn to a particular group among all of those people. There's a particular group. Verse 13. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? Whence came they? See, there's a special group that's different from the rest. Who are these? He's asking John, right? And I said unto him, sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of Yah, and shall serve him day and night in his temple. Question. Who serves Yah in his temple? Not everybody. Who serves Yah in his temple? Who does that? That's right. There you go again. So now you're looking at a group of Levite priests who are who? The 144,000. Therefore, they shall serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them, and they shall hunger no more, neither thirst anymore, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. Why did he have to bring all that up? Hunger, thirst, the sun lighting on them, heat. Because we were out in the wilderness for 3.5 years. We were suffering hunger and thirst, and it was hot. It's already getting hot, is it not? It's going to get hotter. But he kept us. He kept us out there. Okay? For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and Yah shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. There's some stuff we got to go through, brethren. and we're going to get delivered. That's the thing we have to remember about the word. When we are going through stuff, man, it's hard. But you got to remember the promises of the word of the Most High. When he says at the end, I'm going to wipe away your tears, I'm going to provide for you, you got to believe his word. You got to lean on his word. That's why I say, brethren, read it. Read his word. You got to learn to lean on that word alone, because every promise you need is in there. It's in there. And so we have to learn to lean on that word, because these words we're reading right now is going to come back to us in just a few years. We've got to remember these words. It's not going to be easy now at all, but we have the word. He's showing us ahead. Remember, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, right? That's the whole point, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. So he's showing us ahead of time so that we're prepared. The rest of the earth, listen, if you listen to me right now, you're hearing things from the word that 99% of the earth don't know nothing about. Nothing. And the Israelites are being raised up to teach this stuff now. And most of the earth has no idea what we are reading right here and what it means. No idea. And you got people out here guessing like it's a game. That's why I tell you, don't guess about the word, man. It could cost you your life. Don't guess about the word. You got to know, or don't say nothing. That's what I've learned. I used to guess. Most I spanked my behind too. No, don't do that. Either you know or you don't. That's why I learned one of the best words you could say when you're studying the Bible. I don't know. I don't know. Because then you can learn something. If you're guessing, you think you know. No. To show unto his servants things that must shortly come to pass. And he's preparing us. And Deuteronomy shows us these things. We just read a little bit, but it's a lot in Deuteronomy on it. The prophets show us these things. And we know we're being prepared. So the Levite teachers are now being prepared to teach. And the teaching sound is going to get louder and louder until Revelation 18 is fulfilled. Okay. We're going to go there. We're going to get there. But right now, we're still in chapter 11. Okay. Chapter 11. Let's go back now. We're almost finished. Bear with me a few more minutes. I know we had a long one today, but we're almost finished. Okay. Verse 12, Revelation 11, verse 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So we're going to be ascended up. They're going to see us ascended up. We're going to stand on the sea of glass, and you're going to see other things. Revelation 15 will show us the same thing. Is at that point, the plagues start to fall on them. Revelation chapter 19 shows the same thing. So we're going to see that, but that's later. We'll come back to that. This is just, that's going to only reinforce what we've already read. And that's what prophecy does. It repeats itself. Remember, it repeats itself. And so after you read the sevens, there's other things that will be repeated. And we're going to show that all prophets do that throughout the whole Bible. When you read all the prophets, especially the major ones with a lot of material, like your Jeremiahs, your Ezekiels, your Isaiahs, Daniel, things are repeated in there. Okay, to reinforce things and to give you different angles of the same thing. It's repeated. Okay, just like all doing the Deuteronomy. What do you hear the most in Deuteronomy? Do not worship other gods. Do not worship other gods. Keep my commandments. Do not worship other gods. Keep my commandments. Do not worship other gods. I'm a jealous God. Don't worship other gods. Keep my commandments. Keep my covenant. Don't worship other gods. You hear that all through Deuteronomy. It's repeated often. Just in case you didn't catch that memo, don't worship other gods. Okay, which caused me to understand, listen, that means there must be other choices out there that he don't want you choosing. Then I realized every religion is a different God. Every denomination is a different God. How do I say that? Because they're all different. The Mormons worship different than the SDAs, and they all worship different than the Baptists. The Jehovah's Witnesses worship different than them. It's Babylon. And they all serve a different God. Okay? So, Revelation chapter 11. Verse 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And the earthquake in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. So there is going to be a group of people. Notice he used the 7,000 term. After we have gone to the seal glass, and we're with the Messiah, and we're with the angels, and 144,000, everybody's there. There's some people that are going to come after. They're affrighted when they see this. It makes them scared, and they decide, wait a minute, so something's wrong here. That is covered in Isaiah chapter 14. Those are the ones that are going to serve us as servants and handmaids. That's covered in Isaiah chapter 14. We're not going to go over that now, but it says the remnant were affrighted. In other words, they watched us go up, and a remnant of them were scared. And they said, wait a minute, we made a mistake. Not all of them going to do that. Most of them are unrepentant. But the remnant going to say, wait. Something's wrong here. We made a mistake. And they gave glory to the Most High. After we get, they're not going to be standing on the sea of glass with us. They're going to be our servants and handmaids. Isaiah 14. Not all Gentiles. And then when you look at Isaiah 61, it says they're going to be your vine dressers. They're going to build your houses for you. Right here. Okay. Not all Gentiles, just a class of them that come when it's late. Too late for most. No, the Gentiles that come in now, you Gentiles, you're receiving the same blessing as the Bible says. You're going to be able to go in the land, and they're going to say, what part of the land you want? And you go. And you're going to have families there. And some of y'all are going to be running nations. That's all right, Junior. I want to tell you, don't get discouraged by your family members that's out here being knuckleheads, whether they be in some cult or whether. All you got to do is pray for them by the Spirit. Don't worry about your words are not gonna mean anything to them. It's the people that listen to you the least, as what the Messiah teaches us. He said a prophet is not without honor except in his own house. So nobody of your relatives that know you is going to listen to what you got to say. They're not going to want to believe anything that you got. Okay, so don't worry about that. Just live your life of the faith of righteousness and pray for them and let the Most High do his work. There's certain things that happen when you pray for your brethren, your relatives and people that you love that I'm not going to explain now, but there's certain things that happen. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. Better than talking to them is praying for them and living the truth that you believe in. That's right. Only the Father can reach them with his Spirit. So don't you try to do that. We're not the Holy Spirit, right? We're not the Holy Spirit. The Father give us his Spirit. That's who reaches you and me. And that's who reaches them. Okay? Because that's who reaches you and me, the Spirit. Anything I'm saying that convicts your heart is not me. It's the Spirit of the Father. That's his Spirit doing it. Can't take credit for that. I'm not the Holy Spirit. You understand? So I know it's frustrating with your relatives that you love and your cousins and your brothers and sisters and your parents. Just pray for them. Pray for them and let the Spirit of the Father work on their heart. Let him do it. They got to make their own choice. It's hard, but they got to make their own choice. Okay? And so you got to pray for them. That the Spirit of the Father will convict them like he convicted you. And not all, but maybe one or two might come to you and say, what is this you follow, man? Where do you get this stuff from? Then you have an opening to start talking to them a little bit. Yeah? But don't ever try to, let me show you. I know it's exciting, but don't push it because they're going to reject you. It's like yelling fire in a theater, right? They're going to think you crazy. And they'll say, there ain't no fire. What's wrong with you? Right? You got to be cool. It's not easy, though. I know. Believe me, I know, but it's not easy. So that's the sixth trumpet. We got one more. Okay? That's the sixth trumpet right there. And brethren, we close. We very close. Like I said, I'm seeing no more than 12 more years. That's on the outside. It could actually cut it short. All right. I'm seeing no more than 12 years left before this kingdom is destroyed. Okay. And so what we need to do here is keep safe in the Most High Spirit Read his word. Let him keep us and let us live for his glory, the Father's glory alone. He will guide your steps where you're supposed to be. And I can see even now, like I said, I'm noticing people being relocated into different places. He'll do that. Being set apart by yourself for him to deal with you. He'll do that. No matter what happens, trust your Father. He will never, he's Alpha and Omega, and he is an ordained Messiah, Hawashai. He's ordained him to be his spokesman and his mouthpiece. Okay. So don't worry. Just trust and read. Please study the word. No matter how educated or uneducated you might be, that don't matter. The Father's Spirit could touch anybody. Anybody. Yeah, Castle King, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Jumping up, right, Akawa. That's exactly right, Akawa. That's exactly right. Jumping off the page. That's exactly right. Oh, Akawa, I wanted to let you know I'm about to do that thing with them tickets, man. I'm about to do that thing. I wanted to let you know. I'm about to do that thing. Praise the Most High. All right, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to come back and we'll do a question and answer at about, I would say maybe about 1:30. We're going to do a question and answer. I'm going to give you a little something to eat, let y'all get a little chance to get something to eat. We'll do a question and answer. Okay, yeah. I'm just letting you know I'm getting ready to do that. I'll just replace whatever when that comes, what you do. I'm going to replace what I put out. It's okay. I'm going to do that very shortly. To make sure we have the place. I done already set aside the time. So we good. In fact, we're supposed to talk tomorrow anyway. So I'm going to send you something. I'm going to send you a link today. All right. So we're supposed to talk tomorrow anyway. So, okay. 1:30 Eastern time, DC time, Eastern Standard Time. We'll be dealing with question and answer. So I'm going to sign off now. We'll come back at 1:30. It'll say question and answer in the coming program. May the Most High bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Be safe. Enjoy. Shalom.